is it? Matches. Oh.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2-minute warning. Well, you'll see. Sometimes they're a little damp. That's, I think, the problem. Is that sometimes, I think, so now you know to use it on that side that you just used it on. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the dampness that.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity Center of Pittsburgh on this beautiful fall day. It seems like really fall. So I'm Jan Kaylin. I'll be your service leader this morning. And we welcome our musician, Ronnie Weiss. Yay, Ronnie. We're so grateful to be together with you to celebrate the truth of our divine nature. Unity is a new thought spiritual philosophy which affirms that there is one loving and creative power in the universe, and there is no separation between this loving God energy and ourselves, because indeed we are divine spiritual beings having this human experience. So today we are blessed to have Patti Perhacs talk about the natural laws of the universe. Can't wait, Patti. So let's join together as we read our vision and mission statements. So our vision is we envision a spiritually awakened world flowing with divine love. And our mission, we are an inclusive, loving, growing community dedicated to teach, inspire, and practice positive spiritual living. And let's do a song. Love is my decision.
So if you want to stand, feel free to stand. I really like this song because, we have the power to create love and live in love. And it's a decision that we can make. So that's why I like this song. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. And we make that decision right here and now.
So let's move into our opening prayer. Divine Mother, Father God, we thank you for this life that we are expressing. We realize that we are the channels through which your power flows in peace and love. We release our concerns and open our minds to the eternal love that blesses and supports us. We are filled with energy and strength. We are inspired with understanding. With gratitude and certainty, we say, Amen. And so it is. So each Sunday, we light a single candle, the Christ candle, which represents the divine truth of the one loving God energy that exists with everyone right now. This is our Christ consciousness. We affirm that love and light is omnipresent, and it is our intention to bring it forth to shine brightly into the world. And remember, as Jesus said, you are the light of the world. So let's say our unity principles together. God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. Through prayer and meditation, we increase our conscious contact with God, bringing forth love, wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. All right, now let's go into What a Wonderful World.
Everybody knows this song, so please sing along. It always feels good when everybody's singing. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Louis Armstrong on that one.
Yes. So that fits into our daily word, which today is joy. And our affirmation is, God's joy blesses each day of my life. The aroma of my favorite foods from childhood brings a happy memory to mind. Hearing the voice of a dear one warms my heart. Looking upon a newborn's face for the first time evokes a feeling words can't even describe. While the giddy excitement of a child's joy may now be a memory, the joy I know today still delights me. Each day I embrace more completely the joy of knowing I am a living expression of God. God's life lives as me. God's wisdom is within me, my guide to a deepening understanding of myself and the world around me. The love I share with people who are dear to me is God's love, living in each heart and expressing as each of us. What greater joy could there be? And from Thessalonians, rejoice always. So let's repeat our affirmation 3 times together. God's joy blesses each day of my life. God's joy blesses each day of my life. God's joy blesses each day of my life. And now we're going to bless our children. So bring into your mind the children in your lives, your family and friends. Hold in your heart the children you know and love. Now let that love expand and flow to all children everywhere. May each child share God's love and kindness, growing into their own true spiritual potential. May they receive praise and encouragement and always be loved as their true spiritual selves. And may they know the divine presence lives within each one of them. So we recognize and honor all children everywhere and bless them as a true light of God. And so it is. Now let's bring into our minds and hearts those who are in need of uplifted prayer. We see these individuals and situations surrounded and nourished by the healing balm of our love and light. We see radiant health and wholeness, comfort for those in distress, resolution to conflicts, wisdom and guidance for our world leaders, and peaceful collaboration in all relationships. So we are going to pass around prayer slips for you to be able to write down the name of a person or a situation that is in need of prayer. And Tricia is going to pass them around. Thank you, Tricia. So if you would like to write down on the prayer request anything your heart needs prayer for. We're passing them out now so you can fill them out as we move into song. And we pray over your prayer requests, and then we send them to Silent Unity, who prays over them for 30 days. So we have a prayer box, or a prayer bucket. It's a little metal bucket with flowers on it out on the hallway that says place your prayers here. So please be sure to do that when you're done. And for those of you who are online and want your prayer requests to be prayed over, please log on to our site and fill out a request that will also go to Silent Unity. So now let's move into song as we bring these individuals and situations into the healing light of prayer. I am opening up in sweet surrender.
I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening.
Now I'll be leading you through a guided meditation. I'll speak for a few minutes, and then we'll have a short period of silence. Then I'll close with a few more words. So make yourself comfortable as you settle into your chair and put all distractions aside. Relax the weight of your body into the support of your chair. Close your eyes when you are ready. Breathe deeply and slowly, feeling your breath moving in and out of your body. Notice any part of your body that wants attention. Allow it to be, knowing that you are the perfect living expression of love, peace, and wholeness. Notice any distracting thoughts that come up. Bless them and let them go. And notice any feelings that you may be experiencing: worry, anxiety, sadness, or discomfort, and allow them to be, knowing that you are in harmony, balance, and well-being right here, right now. Feel your head and eyes relaxing, your jaw and throat, your shoulders relaxing. Relaxation flows down through your arms into your hands, flows over your chest into your abdomen and pelvis, easing down through your legs, feet, flowing on to your toes, relaxing all. Feel as if everything is floating, gently releasing all tension and worry. As you continue to breathe slowly and easily, bring into your mind's eye being in your favorite place on this beautiful fall day. You are comfortable, at ease, relaxed, and say to yourself, joy blesses my life. Feel the energy of well-being, contentment, gratitude, peace, and joy circulate throughout your body. Say to yourself, joy blesses my life. Breathe in and repeat, joy blesses my life. Keep this image of your favorite place and repeat, joy blesses my life with each breath as we prepare to enter into the silence. If your mind wanders, just return your attention to this divine idea and repeat, joy blesses my life with each breath you take. And now we gently enter into the silence. I invite you to again bring your attention to your breath, recognizing the breath as a divine activity of love, peace, and wholeness within you. Now take a deep breath in and slowly breathe out. See how calm and gentle your breathing is and how relaxed your body is. Notice the sounds around you. Feel the floor beneath your feet. Feel your clothes against your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Shrug your shoulders. Open your eyes and feel the blessing of these divine souls all around you. And now we get a special song from Ronnie, We Will Find a Way by Brenda Russell.
I really love this song. It's from a movie called Karina, Karina, which came out, some years ago. And this song, it's a wonderful soundtrack to the movie, and this song was performed by Brenda Russell and Olita Adams. And if you get to hear it, it's very inspirational the way they do it. Sun follows rain, strength follows pain, and I know we will find a way. There is a plan, peace follows understanding, and I know we will find a way. And in the long run, all things happen for a reason, though it's hard sometimes believing what that means. There's a long road, we will sail above these waters. There are more than 7 wonders to be seen. Here in your smile, my heart can rest a while, and I know we will find a way. Faith is the key that brought you here to me, and I know we will find a way. In the long run, all things happen for a reason, though it's hard sometimes believing what that means. There's a long road, we will sail above these waters. There are more than 7 wonders to be seen. Here in your smile, my heart can rest a while, and I know we will find a way. Faith is the key that brought you here to me, and I know we will find a way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie. That was wonderful. So as you know, this service today was created for you to inspire and uplift your spirit. So we rely on your generous donations to keep us free and spiritual and working together in this divine, wonderful experience we have. So please give generously. And today, we get to learn about the natural laws of the universe from Reverend Patti Perhacs. Patti, take it over.
Thank you, Jan. Well, good morning. Good morning. We will find a way through the natural laws of the universe because they will find us. There's no getting around that. Thank you for that song, Ronnie. Karina, just a little anecdote because you know how I am. I used to sell recorded videos, and I used to get a copy of literally every single movie that came out on video. And one of them was Karina. It was a really little movie. I mean, it wasn't a big blockbuster hit, and it had a really wonderful message, right? But the music just blew the whole film away. It was just amazing. If you haven't seen it, I don't know, maybe you'll find it online somewhere. But certainly you can find this soundtrack, and it's wonderful. And I'm so glad you brought that up because I got to bring that back into my life. That was great. So thank you very much. The natural laws of the universe. As metaphysicians, spiritually minded, like-minded beings, we're all on a path. We're on a path to create a greater consciousness, a greater knowingness of how God works in our life and in all of life. So I thought it would be great to study the natural laws and for many to review them perhaps so that we can better understand the functioning of the universe. This will help us to give light to our past creations and our current life and the current state of the world as we see it in today, because we know all things are in divine order. And the more we understand what that order is, the more likely we can find peace and harmony and balance when we look upon the world, when we look upon our lives, when we look upon the situations, the illnesses, things of that nature that we deal with in this walk and path in this physical form on this earth plane. I do have a slide presentation, and John, if you can move us to the first slide, please, I'd appreciate it. There we go. So the natural laws derives divine order. And if you can go to the next one, because there should be another line. There it is, perfect. Okay, great. And they derive divine order of all creation. And it's very interesting because there's no getting around them. You know, we talk about how, you know, thoughts are things and all that's true, but there is more to the actual creation and how it works behind the scenes, if you will, behind the curtain of the great Wizard of Oz, as we think of that movie, and how there is this whole understanding that everything is within us, but there is something more to us. So the natural laws, they've been in effect in ruling the cosmos and all of creation before man, before there was a recording of the world. And they exclude no one, and they are immutable. There is no getting around them, and that's a good thing. So we understand here at Unity that God is spiritual substance. Therefore, it goes to reason that God is present in presence, in principle, that God has an order which everything operates. And that said, per New Thought, and in general, Fillmore's teachings, order is the first law of the universe. The natural laws inform the functioning and the order of all things, and what we would refer to here quite easily as divine order. But now today we're going to know and understand, well, what exactly is that, and how does it work? So there are rules, or code, if you will, and if you think back a few weeks when Steve Troy was here and he was talking, and he brought up the analogy of Pac-Man as a game, but a life path, right? We're all on our life path. And I said to him, that's perfect analogy of life and the natural laws, because there is a code, a programming code behind that game that makes it work based on the paths you take and what you do and how quickly you do it. And likewise, there is a code behind what we think and see and experience that makes things work, that creates function, that creates form, that transmutes. It's all very powerful. So behind this vast, unending cosmos are the natural laws, and they have origination and order in all of existence. And as we talk today, you'll see that become more apparent. And I think if you're not familiar, light bulbs will go off. You'll be like, oh yeah, well that makes sense, and I can see that. And that you can see how they all work together. And they are what makes things manifest. That the natural laws give form and density to thoughts, to things, to experiences, not just what we're thinking today, but what we thought last week, last month, last life, on this plane, on another plane of existence, if, like Steve Troy, you believe that. So, may I have slide 2, please? Thank you. And if you can click one more time. Perfect. Thank you. So from the beginning of time, these laws have been in effect and have been passed down through various philosophers, scholars, theologians, and are prevalent in New Thought, New Age, and esoteric studies. And I'm sure there's others, but that's what my reference and familiarity is with. In my studies, I have learned that these laws were known to the ancient Greeks and ancient Egyptians and have originations in Hermeticism, brought forth by Master Hermes, or Hermes, seen on this slide, who also brought forth, bless you, and taught alchemism, which then is also known as Hermetic art. So you see, these are things that are from a very, 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 very long time ago, that the laws were given, written, explained. But we know they would have had to have been functioning before that. So that is how, to me, like how mind expansive this is, how this, it just is so surprising, and that we don't know of this, so we don't learn of this in our schools, because it really gives order to life. It gives direction. And what else might be interesting to you is Hermes and Hermeticism is 7 Hermetic principles. And from those Hermetic principles, many philosophies, religions, New Thought, all transformed because they all have roots in this understanding. And interestingly enough, there was a New Thought pioneer, William Walker Atkinson, who back in 1908 published a book, The Kabbalion, The Three Initiates, and he didn't really have his name on the book, perhaps because it was new, it was different thinking, or perhaps because he was bringing it forth through spirit, what some people would call channeling. For whatever reason, However, he is attributed, William Walker Atkinson, to the Kabbalion. And I believe there's a free PDF online, if you're interested, that you can download and read that. So as I see it and how I've experienced it, Hermetic and the natural laws inform spiritual law. So like that of non-judgment, and I talked about that a few weeks ago, and you'll see in one of these laws in particular how we talk about non-comparison, and that leads itself to that spiritual law of non-judgment. I was taught the natural laws many years ago in my 20s by my teacher, the late Reverend Ralph Jordan, and he spoke about the Hermetic laws and the natural laws and the spiritual laws pretty cohesively and integrated a lot of it and included them because there's so much overlap. And I think part of that is you study and you learn and have learned other philosophies and religion and practices, you see how it does overflow and it does overlap. And it just reinforces how we are all one. But from what I've learned, they all align, no matter what name you call it, spiritual law, universal law, the natural law, God's law, it all aligns and are very much related to Hermetic principles from Hermes. So as we walk through these laws today, and as you read on your own, you can discern for yourself the similarities and variances and draw your own conclusions. So if we can have slide 3, we'll start digging into the natural laws right now. So the first law is the law of divine oneness, and also referred to sometimes that all is all. And my teacher would also reference this as the great law of love. When we think about Fillmore and the natural laws, Fillmore taught everything in divine order grows from center to circumference, from mind to the outer, so from the inner to the outer. Keeping that in mind, we understand that we all came, right, from divine mind, from source, which means we were created through the natural process of divine order or the natural laws, and therefore we are all connected to God as we refer to it, right, that substance, that principle that's outside here. And everything from every thought and every event is connected. Not only do we create it, but they're connected. And it connects to other things. Think of it as molecules. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. I never liked science as a kid. I kind of just like being in wonder of things. But when you think of a molecule, if I recall correctly, there's an atom and the molecules, and then they multiply. And that's kind of how the law works. And that's how our thoughts work. They continue to connect to other, bigger, greater. And that is how we manifest. That is how we create. And it continues. It continues on and on. We are all part of the whole. We say that all the time. But the lesson in this law is to remain aware that what you hold in mind, in other words, everything you think or say, is a ripple. It's a wave, a ripple if it's a small thought perhaps, and a wave perhaps if it's an angry thought, is the way I kind of think of that. That just ripples through the universe and continues on. Ponder this. We talk about miracles. We talk about grace. Is that something that just occurs because we were good today and we get a miracle? Or grace smiles down upon us? Or is it a part of what we have been creating throughout this life and others, and that we, for lack of a better word, have earned it, have deserved it, have created it? Miracles are manifestations of our beliefs. Did people not touch the garment of Christ and heal? And we know it was through their faith. So it was through their thought and their belief, wholeheartedly, completely, that they would be healed touching the garment of the Christ. And so they were healed. That is how powerful our vibrations that we're going to talk about, these laws are. And that is how it all works. Jesus represents the law of love in affirmative expression. And when we think about that, we remember that's the idea of the wholeness. So if we want to use Jesus as our teacher and manifest the teachings of his life in ours, then love is that first principle, that love is that divine oneness. And let us lead, of course, with that love. So the next law is the law of vibration. Energy is always in motion. Isn't that true? It's the basic understanding of vibration. I think we all understand that energy makes up everything, and energy is always moving. Again, it gets back to science and atoms and molecules. And we know this again from that scientific study. We are energy. Our bodies are energy, as well as our thoughts. They're comprised of vibrational energy, and they have different frequencies, which we'll get into in a minute. This law informs us that our personal vibrational frequency, both the speed and the vibration, influences what we create. So positive creates positive, negative, negative, and we know that even from doing wiring in our homes, that you don't want to cross those wires, right? So likewise, we're affected by vibration, and others' vibration affects us. We can elevate or change our vibration, which we talk about later in transmutation, and we can raise our own vibration through fabulous music, through a prayer, through a thought, through a walk in the park, the changing the vibration in nature. That lifts us up. So it's through the frequency of vibration, sound, music, meditation, and how we internalize things, that we project these thoughts of love, that we create. Correspondence teaches us as above, so below. I'm sure you've heard about that, referenced that. I know I've said it many times in messages, and that is one of the Hermetic principles, as a matter of fact. And that is that the understanding that our inner world, our subconscious world, most importantly. So even when we're not thinking, of course, we're thinking, we're projecting unconsciously. That's a big one to chew on, right? The subconscious creates as well. So we have to understand that the law of correspondence is understanding what our patterns are, understanding how we create. Again, consciously we do it, but subconsciously sometimes we might be saying one thing but thinking differently. Like when we say we want something in our lives, but maybe in reality we're afraid of it, and that's what our subconscious is putting out there. So that's the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without. Subconscious, it rules, and it reminds us to be mindful. Sometimes we'll find ourselves saying things, at least I do, and it doesn't, it surprises me, one, and then sometimes it doesn't feel congruent. And that happened to me recently. I signed up to do something on a position, and then immediately I felt this incongruence, but I thought it was what I wanted. And we find that, right? So we have to internalize and be aware not only of what we're thinking and saying we want, but is it really our true desire at this point in time? It may have been right for us a year ago or 2 years ago or a lifetime ago, but maybe it's no longer right. Vibration has changed, energy has changed, we have changed, and our purpose, our soul purpose, is evolving, and it has changed. And maybe what we were good at and thought, in this case, I can bring to a situation, we recognize that's not mine to do any longer. That's for someone else. So it's really being attuned and mindful to your conscious, your subconscious, and the whole of your thinking and being. So the next law is attraction, law of attraction, and inspired action. It's actually 2 laws, but I kind of put them together because I think they work well. And I touched on that, talking about correspondence. So if we want to attract something into our lives, we have to take action, whether it starts with a thought, perhaps it's education, but we want to make sure it's that deep unknown desire is also prevalent in our creation. So that gets in, again, to the subconscious. So inspired action is taking the steps to invite what we want in our life, that we don't just meander along like an Eeyore, right? And just meander along and say, oh, if nothing ever works out for me, or I'll always be this way, because we know we're putting out a vibration, and it's going to continue. So we have to inspire ourselves sometimes, and that's why we all get together as a community, right, on a Sunday, to get inspired, to share and practice with like-minded individuals, to absorb their positive energy that hopefully they're bringing to church, and if they're not, that we can take that a moment to project love and light to them to help them shift. That's why we have our spiritual communities, to help us grow, to support us, to help us understand how we affect others, how we are the law of love, how we are Jesus in action. So the next law is compensation, the law of compensation and cause and effect. Cause and effect is actually the Hermetic principle, but the law of compensation is the idea that we are compensated inch by inch, ounce by ounce, full measure for what we put out there, right? So, it's the, as we sow, so shall we reap. As we give, so we shall get. And again, the law of compensation is one of the Hermetic principles. And there are many planes of causation. And if we think about that, and I think I've shared with you, at times I have found myself putting out something negative and I catch myself and, I usually chuckle at myself like, oh, did it again. And I bless that thought and I send it on its way and I do an affirmation. But I did put that thought out there, right? So it's out there. And again, this is all matter. It's the multiple molecules that are growing that we are putting out there, using that analogy again. So some of them are positive, some of them are in control of, some of them are subconscious. Of course, we're in control of everything, but we don't always, in moment to moment, manage it. But the laws teach us of what we're doing. So if we see things in our life that don't make sense, that don't feel congruent with what we're thinking, that gives us an opportunity to say, well, wait a minute. I do my affirmations. I go to work every day. Why don't I have more money in my savings? Why don't I have more money to give to my church or more money to buy a new car, whatever the case may be? And then we find out, we go within and we work with our subconscious. Is there something still affecting us from when we were a kid that makes us feel unworthy? Is there a belief that, well, money doesn't grow on trees, or I have to work really hard for money? That's a big one, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but that was the lesson at my house when I was a kid growing up. And I started working when I was like 10, the paper route, because I had to work hard to make money. Then I realized, well, wait a minute, I'm worthy. So as I started working as an adult and studying the natural laws, I realized that I need to put out there what I think I'm worth. And it's very interesting to me, the numbers, the figures I started with. And at the time, that seemed like a lot. But we know we're unlimited abilities. We're unlimited capabilities. We are God. So we are worth even more than whatever number you think of when you think of what is a good income for yourself. So times 10, whatever it is. And don't think, oh, that's foolish. Because why is it? Why is it foolish? You have to answer that for yourself. The law of attraction, the law of inspired action, the law of compensation. You can see how these all work together to create, to manifest. May we have the next slide, please? Thank you. So the natural law of relativity, or the perpetual law of relativity, teaches non-comparison. And if you recall, a few weeks ago, I did a message, you may have heard it, on non-judgment. And it's the idea that everything is relative. So one, as we talked about, don't judge, right? It's only through comparison that we assign emotional meaning. The law in perpetual relativity says we have to be vigilant to experience life through a natural, balanced state, right? So once we get hooked or judge, we've shifted the vibration. We assign meaning and measurement of good and bad, rich or poor, based on our perceptions, as we talked about, and judgments and experiences and expectations. So we have to isolate an experience to understand it. We used to always talk about, but my teacher, peeling back the onion to comprehend the layers of complexity of our creation and of the way we think and are in this world. If we remain neutral and we don't judge, then we can be grateful and appreciate everything in our life. So we want to remain balanced. We want to keep our view and perspective open to see both sides, which we'll talk about in polarity, and know that everything continues to be in motion and everything is relative. So come from a balanced state, a neutral state in your observations, rather than a judgmental state. So we remain conscious, and we look at perspectives, and we be open to other perspectives, not just our own. That's a real important one, right? Our next law is the law of polarity, and it's the idea of opposites. Opposites, yin and yang, and the idea that everything has an opposing or an opposing energy. So there's positive and negative. There's rich and poor. There's happiness and sadness. And we have to understand and know both of those. So the one good thing is we know that there's contrast in our lives, and there's degrees of joy, there's degrees of happiness, there's degrees of wealth. All these things have a spectrum of being. So when we think about balance, maybe instead of judging our checking account as empty, we judge our checking account as not quite as full as I want it to be. And that's a subtle shift in the way we perceive things, in the way we say things, in the way we view things. But it's a positive shift in that we're not saying I don't have, we're saying I have some and I'm creating more. See, it's very subtle. But we want to recognize that there are opposites. And by knowing the opposite, so if we're in pain, we know that the opposite is health. And we too can have health, because we know through these laws, as we've been discussing, we can shift and change things as well as create. So it helps give a perspective to our lives as well as understanding, which is so important to other people's lives, so that we can have compassion for what they might be going through in the moment. The next law is the law of rhythm. Even though it might not seem like it when we dance or sing, we all have rhythm. And we all have our own rhythm, and the universe has its own rhythm, and we are influenced by those cycles of nature and that we see all around about us. And one thing that the law of rhythm tells us and teaches us is you can count on change will continue to happen, right? And some things we know and expect, like the tides going in and out, but it does change, right? We also know that we can assess our own rhythm and notice, because everything is vibration and we're putting out vibration, notice, is it in rhythm with the natural nature of things? And if it's not, then we want to understand why. Because really, what we want to strive to do is to be aligned with nature. Nature, typically, as we see it when man doesn't get involved and tamper, is perfection. It's God's creation. Nature is growth. Every spring we see the buds come back on the trees. Even after this hard winter we had where it was hot, cold, we still somehow saw buds come back to twigs and branches on the trees. Maybe not all of them, but they did continue, because that is the natural rhythm of things when not spoiled by man or by us in our thoughts and our way of thinking, our conscious or subconscious. So know your natural rhythm and appreciate the state of nature and all the rhythms of life. Enjoy the seasons. Recognize where you are in the seasons of your life and appreciate it, no matter where it is, and no matter how difficult it might seem in the moment. Know that it too will change, because there is a rhythm, there is a flow. And that brings us to the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And that also ties back to the Hermetic principle of mentalism. And it's akin to the law of vibration, again, that all is energy, and that we can transmute energy through changing its form or state of substance. And you can think about that when you think about, let's see, what's a good example would be rain, water. So water can be, rain and liquid. Water can freeze. It has different properties, and it's transmuting energy in order to change those properties. We don't think about it that way. We just think about, it's frozen. It's cold now. But it's changing. It's transmutation of energy. And it forms the understanding of creation of thought, our thoughts to take dense forms. So if we say we create through our thoughts and our way of thinking, we have to be shifting energy to densify it. That is the law. That is the law of transmutation. So God, we say, is the creation within our consciousness, and knowing that we, moment to moment, are projecting, for simplicity's sake, negative or positive thinking, and we can transmute that and raise our vibration through song, as we talked about, through meditation, through our way of thinking. Here's an example of how powerful this can be, and the ability to transmute or to heal, in this case, the body. I remember a student, when I was studying with my teacher, who had heart issues. And in his counseling, my teacher told the student to get an image of the perfect heart. Read about it, understand how it works. Okay, how does the heart work, the valves, the beating, what's all the purposes? Understand that so you can hold that image in your mind in order to assist your body to heal your heart. So I use that image and that simple example of how powerful we are and God's creation of the universal laws are, as well as how we transmute energy and change a dysfunction to a function. And the last law, the last natural law, is the law of gender. Excuse me. Everything has a masculine and feminine energy, a yin and a yang, as you would think of, right? And they're complementary energies. They have a purpose. Both are important, and we want to use them in balance and be aware of when the pendulum is swinging too far either way, right? Too far masculine energy when it's not appropriate, perhaps, versus feminine energy. And we're a society that leans into masculine energy, don't we? It's like produce more, make more. We're capitalism. Let's get that stock price up, work harder with less, make it happen. That's the masculine energy. However, we are seeing a shift in that. We're seeing more divine feminine energy coming in, right? People are working with their intuition. You see yoga studios are everywhere. You see New Thought churches starting to prosper again as more people are searching and looking for content, for inspiration, for understanding as they have awakened and continue to awaken, and the world continues to awaken and shift. And there are going to be cosmic shifts because we can't continue with this way of living. The good thing is we know that everything is relative, right? So if the pendulum's shifting the other way, sometimes you have to brace yourself. Sometimes it's not pretty, but it'll shift back. And you know what? We are all going to be cared for because we know the natural laws. We know how to create. And we know nothing in this physical really matters, right? We want to come in the world and we want to be good stewards of our environment, of our thoughts, of our loved ones. But when it comes right down to it, it's all about our involvement, our personal spiritual evolution. And we know in this unseen dimension, when we leave this supposedly, say it's an illusion, although I call it the physical illusion because it seems pretty real to me when I'm here. We want to leave this world in a better place. And understanding the natural laws and how we create and how things work and how we can shift and transmute simply by lifting a vibration with a smile is pretty powerful. Emily Cady, in her complete works book, The Unity of Spirit essay books, it's great. If you don't have it, I encourage you to get it, said there is a law and there is a gospel. And I like this, because what she's really saying here is we're unifying the law, which is the principle, the natural laws and everything out there, if you will, with the internal spirit of who we are, that God that's within us, that higher mind that's within us. It's the unity of spirit, both principle and spiritual. I believe this is a unification that she's encouraging us to do when she says, there is law and there is gospel. And this unification of mind, body, and spirit is the idea that we hear from Jesus in Matthew when he talks about having one eye of spirit. Well, if the natural laws or God laws are created by creation, by spirit, by God, and we are God's conduit, God's channel in this world, God's child, if you will, then it is up to us to have the one eye of both the understanding of principle as well as the living of principle and the living of spirit and the living of the law of love as Jesus affirmed and expressed in his life. The natural laws of the universe, God's creation, our existence. We want to bring forth that highest consciousness for the highest good. And as Christ said in Matthew, here are their works, by their fruits we shall know them. Meaning that, and he went on to say, a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, and likewise, if you will, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. May the fruits of your labor be plentiful. It's been my pleasure to serve. I hope you enjoyed this review of the natural laws. Thank you, and God bless you. Namaste. Thank you, Jan.
Oh, thank you, Patti. Now I know the natural laws of the universe are also our spiritual laws. Woo, lots to think about there. I'm going to have to go back and watch this one. So now it's time for our prosperity practice and to greet our newcomers. So we recognize here in Unity that it's through God's unlimited supply that each one of us prospers. We continue to grow and manifest prosperity in infinite ways. Excuse me. And if you've joined us today for the first time, welcome. It's so nice to have you. If you're online, please introduce yourself on chat. And if you're here in person, Cheryl will introduce herself after the service with a small gift for you. Thank you, Divine Creator, for the blessings that continue to unfold. And as you hold your offering in your hand, let's repeat our prosperity prayer together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. And let's join Ronnie with blessing to the world.
You are the heart, you are the hand, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and all I am and all I do is a blessing to the world.
Announcements for what's going on this week is this Saturday, September 23rd, from 1 to 3, is a Reiki Healing Circle. It's an opportunity for those who need healing of any kind, physical, mental, or emotional, to receive a thorough treatment from qualified practitioners. In a Reiki Healing Circle share, those who are attuned to Reiki have the opportunity to practice this healing art, and everyone is welcome to receive the benefits of healing. So our Reiki master, David Troutman, has been practicing and teaching Reiki for 30 years. He's a transcendental meditator and the owner of the Yellow Lotus Spiritual Center and Hermione, PA. So please join us for this wonderful event. And you can find that on the website. So let's go into our song, Now There Is Peace on Earth.
Feel free to stand. Feel free to hold hands. This is our traditional unity ending here. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me.
All right. Surrounds me. I am light. The love of God enfolds me. I am love. The power of God protects me. I am power. The presence of God watches over me. I am presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Thank you for being here and bringing your loving energy to our service. As we turn to greet each other, let's continue to envision a world that's filled with peace, love, harmony, and all wonderful things. So until next week, we will see you again. Namaste.